What's up, everybody? I'm Maile Navarro. Welcome to Honestly, I'm Fine, which is absolutely a lie because most days I am honestly anything but fine. I'm like fine adjacent at best. I'm fine if you squint and the lighting is awesome. If you're new here, this podcast started as me just telling the truth about my grief journey, my healing journey, and my attempt at what I call survival mode. We talked about addiction issues, DUIs, custody loss, pediatric cancer, and my son dying at 9 years old. People listen to the podcast and reach out to me and they say these things like, "Oh my God, Miley, you're so strong. You're so inspiring. I don't know how you do it." Then I would write notes back that say, "Thank you. I'm doing okay. We're okay." But always with that like hostage blink energy. For a while, I thought that that was enough, that surviving was literally my job. Breathing in and out, waking up every day, that was the job. All I had to do to say I was surviving and doing it well was keep one child alive while appropriately grieving the other. It was like a full time spiritual CrossFit program. And honestly, I've never done CrossFit in my life. Lately, I feel like I've hit this disgusting little edge where I genuinely don't know why I'm trying so hard anymore. Why am I trying so hard to survive something where it doesn't even feel like it's worth it anymore? We're living in this tiny apartment stacked on top of other tiny apartments. I've moved 3 times now because I've been evicted twice since Kingston died. I don't have a job. I've got a negative bank balance in 2 bank accounts. There's constant panic, and my daughter is tiptoeing around my moods like she has to gauge me like she's the weather Doppler. If this is as good as it gets, if this is the prize for all of the healing, all of the praying, and the being the strong mom, I want to know what the fuck this game even is. There has not been a lot of success for me over the last 21 months. And that's part of my problem. The words coming out of my mouth and the life that I'm living, they just don't match. Here's what I do know. I can't keep retelling my trauma TED talk and living the exact same day on a loop. I either have to go out on a limb and experiment with some sort of change in real life in real time, or I'm going to have to admit that I am the reason that we are stuck. Let me paint a picture for you about where I'm starting from today. I'll give you the short version if that's even possible. Most mornings, I wake up already in debt. Financially, obviously, but I wake up spiritually overdrawn, nervous system overdrawn, and my patience 100% overdrawn. Before my feet even hit the floor, my brain has opened 12 different tabs. It's panicking about how I'll pay rent, the $1 million debt I have from cancer bills, emails that I've been avoiding, school stuff with Zuma that I've been avoiding, Zuma's schedule, and the dishes that have now become a part of my permanent decor. How about the career that I swear I'm building? And the grief hiding in the closet like a monster that definitely does not help out around the house. Then I open my bank app every day like it's going to be something different. And every day it's like the same horror movie that I paid to be in. Every freaking time, the number is never a surprise. It is always an insult. I stare at it and I immediately start to play this broke girl math over and over in my head. If I pay this bill, I can't pay that bill. If I ignore this one, maybe that creditor will forget I exist. Then I start to wonder, do I really need 2 kidneys? I mean, I'm not out here running marathons or anything. I could absolutely afford to sell one at this point. Maybe that would help me get by. All of this happens before I even wake my daughter up for school. And that's if I get up to wake her up for school, because some days the grief is so bad that I don't give a shit to even do that much. All of this is happening before I get my morning dose of caffeine. This is baseline for me. In the middle of all of that internal financial hostage negotiation, I have to parent my daughter. She doesn't know the exact numbers that we're working with, but she knows the look on my face. Kids are emotional forensic experts. They don't need to see the crime scene. They can read the chalk outline all over your face. So my daughter stops in the doorway, one hand on the frame, and she peeks in like she is literally checking to see if there's a storm. Is it safe? Is mom cloudy today? Is she about to snap at me for existing but also wanting breakfast? She is my little TSA for vibes, and I absolutely hate it. I hate that my child has to read me like the weather before she decides if she's allowed to be a kid that day. This was never, ever the life that I wanted to hand to my children. This was definitely not the life that I thought I would be living at this point. Even in grief, scrambling bills in a tiny, tiny apartment trying to build an empire on a laptop that sounds like it's about to ascend to heaven itself. Truly, I can list 1,000 reasons why I'm in this position. The medical system wrecked me. Rent in California is too high for what most people to afford. I have $1 million in cancer debt. I'm suffering from prolonged grief. I have ADHD. My ex husband and I have gotten divorced and back together more times than I can count. The entire flaming circus of the country. That is all very real stuff. If trauma points were a credit score, I'd be sitting at 850. But underneath all of that, there's this really nasty truth that I have had a really hard time taking a look at, that a lot of my day to day misery that I am sitting in now, I'm the one maintaining the misery. Not on purpose. I didn't wake up and say, my daughter deserves generational scarcity and a mom who twitches every time the phone rings. But my habits, things like avoidance, the times that I say I'll deal with it later, or I'm too tired, or when I say I'll start that next week, those are the habits that are literally the wallpaper of my daughter's childhood right now. The money humiliation, it's not glamorous. It's not like I put everything to this massive startup and lost my life savings trying to build something I thought was going to take off. This has been a death by 1,000 autopays, charges from DoorDash on nights I was too depressed to cook or my son was too sick, late fees on cards that I swear I closed, streaming services siphoning $9.99 out of an account that's already on life support. Every time I sit down to do the budget and I open a spreadsheet, I can literally feel my soul leave my body. So I stop doing that and I go scrub the bathtub for the second time just to get 45 minutes I can call being productive. That's not productive. That is active avoidance. Being this broke for this long after everything I survived has hit a very specific humiliation circuit. There is this voice in my head that says, haven't you suffered enough? Haven't you done enough? Haven't you been through enough? Haven't you unlocked enough trauma side quests to at least have a washer and dryer and a car that doesn't cry when it starts? I feel like I should be past all of this stuff by now. On paper, my life looks like the worst stereotype of a messy single mom who just can't get her shit together. Even though on my best days, I know I am so smart, so creative, and extremely freaking capable. I literally kept a medically complex child alive for more than 6 years. You cannot do that without having serious skills and being extremely smart and good with people. But my bank account is still cosplaying girl who believes she doesn't deserve more than survival and a punchline. I can't live this way. And the whole time I'm doing this, my daughter is just watching me do it. She doesn't know my credit score, but she knows my energy. She hears "we'll figure it out," and she sees my shoulders hit my ears at checkout when she reaches for something extra that wasn't on the list. She is learning in real time every day that money is scarce, it's a touchy subject, it's dangerous, and the lack of it is embarrassing. I am at a real rock bottom when it comes to money. Not just broke, not just grieving, but realizing that I am actively teaching my daughter a version of life I never wanted for any of us. And I realize, and I know this, I think I've been knowing this, that it's not going to change unless I'm the one who changes it. Money by itself is one kind of rock bottom. To be broke is one thing. What I'm also going through is an identity rock bottom. There was a time in my life that I could answer the question when somebody said, "What do you do?" My answer was simple. I'm Kingston's caregiver. That little boy, he is my job. That was my entire resume for half a decade. More than that. I knew every medication, every dose, every scan forward and backward. Doctors and nurses would ask me for the updates. Where he was concerned, I was essential. I could point at that little human and say, that right there, that is my purpose, and that is what I do. So when Kingston died, my job evaporated like a temporary position that nobody told me was ending. No one pulled me into an office and said, "Ma'am, we'd like to transition you into a new role as a broke podcaster, a wannabe writer, an unwilling grief educator, spiritual science nerd, and the CEO of turning a nervous breakdown into a business." God or the universe or whatever took my kid and left me with body, my fucked up brain, and 2 surviving children. I had no script, no plan, no paid vacation, no time off, no bereavement leave. I had nothing. Daily, I feel like I have nothing. If it weren't for the kindness of the community and random strangers most days, I would not have survived the last 22 months. When people ask me, what do I do now? My soul literally throws up. I can say I'm a podcaster and watch people make this face that says, oh, fun. It's terrible. It's embarrassing. I could tell them I'm a writer. My daughter tells people I'm an author. But then I have to explain what most of my writing lives in, and that's just Google Docs and files called Final Version Part 3. I can say I run a nonprofit, but then somebody wants to see the board and the plans. And I'm like, oh, it's me. Hi, I'm the board. I'm also the tired intern, all of the volunteers. I am it. Forms? Filling out forms is the worst. That little line where you have to fill in the part where it usually says occupation or employer, I stare at that shit like an existential exam. None of my old answers fit into that box. None of the new answers feel real yet. I feel like a fraud. I'm too weird for the corporate world. I have major PTSD. I can't do a lot outside of the house without losing my mind entirely. I'm too broke for the boss girl club. I'm too spiritual for cynics and too cynical for the high vibe girlies. I barely fit in anywhere. I'm entirely too honest to fake a 3-step formula. I've got so little I'm working with right now. I have been dragging around this identity, tragic, broke, hot mess mom who almost makes it but never quite does. And I'm not willing to hand that to Zuma as the family brand. Underneath all of the money and the attempts at rebuilding myself through whatever the hell this is, if you can even call it a rebuilding, it's really come to this. I have to ask myself, who am I if rock bottom is not meant to be my personality? Who am I if I stop playing the part for roles that were never built for someone like me in the first place? What if I were to create my own lane? The moment that made what I'm about to do non-negotiable wasn't super dramatic. There were no slam doors, no screaming. I'm sitting at the sink, if you can even call it a sink. I'm doing this dead-eye dishwashing thing like a Dawn commercial for depression, and my brain's doing its usual loop. All of the bills, the debt, the fact I'm being evicted, these crappy cabinets and a haunted fridge. My daughter walks in with a school flyer. It had bright colors, clip art on it. I don't know, maybe it was a book fair flyer, maybe it was a permission slip for a field trip. Whatever it was something asking for money. And super softly, she asks me, hey, here's this thing. And before she could even ask the question, my brain blurts out, we don't have any money. We can't afford it. Don't even ask. I will never forget the look on her face. Microsecond collapse. And then the little grown-up mask snapped on. She nods super fast and she says, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I didn't need to do it anyways. I know we're broke. 10-year-old girls do not naturally say, I don't need it anyways. That is advanced people pleasing. And when she said, I know we're broke, it wasn't so much the words coming out of her mouth, it was the tone that she said them. Like she was describing gravity, like we're broke was just a law of nature and not a temporary situation for us. I heard my own voice coming out of her mouth. All of the times that I've told her we can't afford that, that's not for people like us, must be nice, maybe someday we could be those people. I thought I was just venting. But it turns out I was teaching my daughter a master class in how to be poor forever. From there, I started noticing it everywhere. Her saying I'm fine when she's not, because that's my line. Her apologizing for her basic needs. That's my energy. Her saying I don't want to be a problem. That is my nervous system having trained hers. And then there was the other night in the bathroom. She's brushing her teeth and I'm in the doorway and she looks at me from the mirror and she asks, are we going to be okay? She wasn't asking if we were emotionally going to be okay. She meant, Mommy, are we safe or are we going to be kicked out again? Is this just a temporary place? We've moved 3 times in the last year and a half. And what she was basically asking is, are you, as the adult in charge, actually in charge? Is the seatbelt on this roller coaster? And I had to lie to her and tell her, yeah, we're going to be okay. I tell her the same thing I always do. We'll figure it out. I do always figure it out. But it's always so temporary. I can't do the hustle anymore. I am tired of hustling. I am exhausted. When I told her that we'd figure it out, my body was full on screaming, I have no fucking clue how I'm going to pay rent next month. I don't have a job and I can't go get one at the snap of my fingers. My resume does not scream employable right now. I am so tired and I feel like I am juggling knives over her head. She squinted at me with her little lie detector kid eyes. She didn't argue anything I said. She just rinsed, spat, and moved on. But I saw a tiny seed of I don't believe you plant behind her eyes. And in that doorway, watching her read me, this thought dropped into my head like a bowling ball. If I don't change the way I think, the way I act, and the things I'm saying, I am going to be the reason that she needs therapy. I will not just be the reason that she knows where the therapist's office is. That is a whole separate rock bottom that I had never fully acknowledged before. Not just I'm broke, not just I don't know what I do anymore or I'm lost. I am actively teaching my daughter to live a life that I never wanted for her. I couldn't save Kingston's body, and I will carry that with me for the rest of my life. I need to say this super clearly. There have been so many times over the last 22 months where I have no longer wanted to live. That's not me being dramatic. That is what happens when the worst thing actually happens to a mother. When you lose your child, there are no words to describe the emptiness and the failure you feel when you have let that I mean, I can't I didn't let that happen, but I definitely couldn't stop it. I have two other beautiful, amazing, honestly, successful, brilliant, talented children, and I want the best life possible for them, and they deserve it. And somewhere under the rubble, I believe that I deserve a life that feels and is better than this too. I am still here. Fuck, I'm stuck here. Zuma is still here. Jaden is still here. These brilliant, beautiful children with these big brains and enormous heart. And they have this mom with this mouth that just doesn't know when to shut up. That's the part that I can change. It's actually the only part that I can change. What I say and what I do, that's on me. What I do with this life is only up to me. Before I get into what I'm about to do and tell you guys this great idea that I had, I want to tell you how I came to this idea. It didn't happen in a meditation or at a yoga retreat or in some peaceful journal moment. It happened in the car, at night, in traffic, like everything else in Los Angeles. It was the last day in my old apartment, the one that I was basically being evicted from. My daughter and I had lived there for a year. It was another this will be temporary place that somehow turned into another disaster. We packed up a whole life. I was driving to the new apartment that we're in now, this tiny little place with no hallway where you can basically see someone pooping from anywhere you stand in the apartment. It's late at night. I'm completely exhausted. My body hurts, and my brain is doing grief math again, just looping through every mistake, wondering how the hell did I get into this position again? I look down at the dash and it's 11:11 p.m. I'm usually like very excited about angel numbers, but that night I like cute for you, but I'm still broke. This is what I used to do. I tend to look around. What do I see? What do I feel? What was I thinking about? What's happening around me? Because that usually means that there's something that is supposed to catch my attention. I need to find out what the actual message is. I had this little nudge and something in me decided, oh my gosh, I'm going to pay attention. So I start looking around and the license plate in front of me says evolve, not faith, not blessed, not mom life. And it has a Pikachu sticker on the back of the bumper. And my whole body went cold and then hot. And then I started hysterically crying because in that moment, I was like, oh my God, I just leveled up. We had just done something that we had never done before. I moved my entire life with nobody screaming or ending up in handcuffs. No one got drunk or blew up their nervous system. There was no catastrophic meltdown. There were tears, obviously, and back pain. I think that my spine might have filed for divorce, but there was no full-scale implosion. I moved this entire apartment in 2 days with my ex-husband by ourselves with a 300-pound fucking claw machine, by the way. And we did it sober, mostly kind, and we did it together for our daughter. Standing back from it, it hit me that we just did something so huge and didn't destroy ourselves in the process. That never used to be possible. Any big change before this came with some sort of explosion, somebody relapsing, somebody leaving, somebody going to the ER, screaming in a parking lot at some kind of cosmic cost. But this time that didn't happen. That Evolve license plate, paired with the Pikachu sticker, felt like Kingston tapping on the glass of my reality saying, okay, mom, you passed one soul test, you've leveled up, now what are you going to do with it? And if you know my relationship with my son before he died, we played Pokemon every day. We collected the cards. We collected the figures. It was our thing. And he used to tell me all the time, Mom, you're not what people say you are. You can do anything. He would say to himself, I believe in myself. I believe in myself. And he would say, Mom, you can do it too. You are so strong. And I never got it before. But that night, as we transitioned to this clean slate, I got it. I talk a lot about soul contracts and soul evolution and how maybe our souls came here to learn certain lessons. And then I look at my actual life and I'm like, that's a nice concept. Why does my lesson still feel like being stuck in the remedial class with no freaking windows? If everything happens for a reason is going to be more than a refrigerator magnet, then I have to start behaving like I believe my life can move forward, not just my soul in theory, my rent, my work, my brain, my kids' childhood. I had to admit something really, really awful to myself. As much as I say I want change, I am terrified of change. I hate it. I will cling to the familiar like it's a life raft, even when the familiar is slowly taking me down. Moving on from being Kingston's caregiver has felt so violent to my system that, yeah, there have been so many days in the last 2 years where I just wanted to die. When you have already survived a thing that most parents fear, your brain stops believing that there are any good twists coming. So when I saw that license plate in a new city that Kingston had never lived in with us, with our entire life shoved in a U-Haul behind me, I just thought, what if this is the level where I stop letting my fear be an excuse to keep reenacting the same misery? What if I actually tried to evolve financially, emotionally, spiritually? Like, what if I allow myself to evolve as a real person, not just talk about it on the internet? What if I were to run an experiment where I live like my brain and my life are pliable and trainable instead of cursed? That's the fire under the experiment I'm about to tell you about. Here's what I plan to do going forward. I have a plan. It's not polished, it's not guaranteed, it's not super aesthetically pleasing right now. It's just very real. I was going to say that I'd give myself a year to run an experiment, but I have ADHD. I don't have a starting projects problem, I have a completing projects problem. You're not actually supposed to commit to anything more than 2 minutes at a time with the type of ADHD I have. 2 minutes. Think goldfish. So when I say a year, what I really mean is I want to see how long I can keep this going. But for now, I'm going to go 1 week at a time and see what happens. If after 2 or 3 months I don't see results, maybe this isn't the thing. But my plan is this. I am going to work on the 4 things that I can control: what I think, what I say, what I do, and I am going to attempt to change those actions every day. That's the whole experiment. What I want to do is try to manifest the life that I've always wanted. So every week I'm going to pick an inner target, which is a thought pattern or story that I'm going to train myself out of. That's what I'm going to do. I'm bringing in psychology, science, religion, spirituality, Buddhism, Catholicism, Christianity, mediums, philosophy, YouTube videos, meditations, physical daily practices, lots of journaling. And I'm going to use whatever tools I can find. I'm going to be the guinea pig. I'm going to do a week's curriculum at a time first, and then I'm going to go online and I'm going to do an episode. I'm going to tell you how it went. I have built myself a very simple, very private little week 1 curriculum. I wouldn't say it's messy. It's not brand ready today. It's a pile of things I'm going to test. Ideas, prompts, practices, things that I've read, spiritual tools, science stuff, trauma healing stuff. I'm going to map it out for you in detail. Not yet, because I refuse to be another here's my 7-step framework person who never has actually done missteps on their own life. Instead, here's what you're going to get. This week, you get to watch me do this. Every night, I am going to post a short check-in here on social media. Think 5 to 10 minutes, either on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Find me wherever you want to watch me. It might be a freaking shit show. It might be in my car. It might be in my pajamas. I might look great. Who knows? But whatever it is, it's going to be real. I'm going to tell you what I tried that day, what I skipped, what fell apart, what worked, what surprised me, anything, whether it's my money, my body, my mood, my kids' energy felt even 1% better from the day before. You won't see the whole blueprint yet, but you're going to slowly see the impact or the lack of impact, because if nothing changes, we're not going to pretend that it did. Then on day 7, I will sit down and record the full episode breaking down week 1 in whole. In that episode, I will finally walk you through what I did behind the scenes. What was the focus? What were the little things in my curriculum? What shifted even slightly? What stayed stubbornly the same? And did I feel any less cursed and any more in training? Or did it all feel like total bullshit? That day 7 episode is also where I will drop the link to the exact week 1 curriculum that I created. It's not going to be somebody else's program. Day by day, I'm mapping out videos, books, other podcasts. I'm going to write meditations. I'm going to do some prayer. We're going to do some actual practices daily. And I'm going to compile that for you so that at the end of week 1, you can see, wow, this worked for her. I want to do that. And if you want to do that, you will have it right there in front of you in the show notes. If it works and you get to the recap and you think, okay, I want to try that too, you'll be able to click in the link to the show notes and you will get access to everything I did. If it doesn't work, I'm going to tell you that too. What I am promising right now is that I will not disappear for a year and come back healed and glowing on a vision board backdrop. You are coming with me in real time to see if I can actually do this. If it's possible to manifest a life that doesn't leave me broken wanting to die. That's the bar. Today, we're not asking for a private jet. We're not asking for a G-Wagon, not a boss babe TED Talk. Just a life where my kid doesn't have to check my face like the weather app before she asks me for cereal. A life where checking my bank balance doesn't feel like I'm watching a horror movie that I never wanted to be in. Just a life where the thought, I don't want to be here anymore, isn't the baseline soundtrack. So, if you want to see whether or not this is real, here's your part. Hit follow or subscribe in whatever app you're listening on so that you don't miss the nightly check-ins. You definitely don't want to miss the Day 7 recap. If you actually want to watch this happen and see my tired little face and the mess in the background, you can watch the video version on YouTube. Every link you need will be in the show description. All of my socials, the email list. When it's ready, the curriculum link will be here waiting for you. If at some point you think, okay, I'm in, I want to do everything she's doing, you'll already know where it all lives. I will be releasing all of the curriculum as I do it, week by week, but only after I have used it on myself and shown you what it does. I'm not going to make any promises, no guarantees. There will be no fake glow up, just me here with you trying to evolve in front of the world. That's my plan, because what if it works? That's the part I'm looking forward to. On that note, I am Maile Navarro. This is Honestly I'm Fine. I'm absolutely not fine, but I am aggressively in training, like a rescue dog who keeps failing the manners class, but is very motivated by the reward. If your life is anything like mine and it's in its before photo era, that's fine. We are all just standing in terrible lighting, wearing the wrong size bra, pretending that it was on purpose. But let's see if we can get an after photo that doesn't involve being broke, exhausted, and Googling, is it normal to fantasize about faking your own death or moving to a city on the other side of the country and not tell anyone? Be sure to check in tomorrow night and see how day 1 went. And because I believe in leaving you with at least one beautiful thing after all of this, I'm adding a song that I wrote to the end of this episode for your listening pleasure. Think of it as the emotional credits rolling while we both process what the hell we just talked about. Until next time, try not to ruin your life any further before the next episode. I will be right there with you.
Found me on a Tuesday, face down in the same old light. Ashtray on the nightstand, phone full of you up, goodbye. I wore shame like an old coat, too tired to take it off. Everyone I love tiptoed around my temper, said she's too far gone. I kept falling through the same trap door, swore I'd stop and I'd drink some more. Thought the bottom was a rumor, till I moved in on that floor. But my worst night is not my name. I am more than the wreck, more than the stain. Yeah, I bled on every page of this last decade, but I'm not staying in that phase. My worst night is not my name. I'm the woman who crawled out of the flame. You can keep your little ghost stories about me. I'm busy learning how to stand up straight. Woke up in a strange house, didn't know the man, knew the smell. You were in the hallway, said, girl, you've been living through hell. Mama said, you're just like your father when you get me. So I boxed up every bottle like I boxed up 17. There were nights I took the long way home just to argue with myself alone. Every promise had a loophole, every prayer had a dial tone. But my worst night is not my name. I am more than the red, more than the stain. Yeah, I crack like cheap glass under heavy rain, but I won't drown inside that shame. My worst night is not my name. I'm the woman who walked out of that game. You can friend me in the fall, that's fine. You'll see I keep rising in a different sea. feet just to feel 10 feet tall. But I'm done making altars out of all my worst days, and I'm done letting rumors walk around